3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome, Lockdown Defenders. This is Coach Mike, and today we are uncovering my favorite defender in the G-League, Nate Pierre-Louis, and how this undrafted player has been catching the eye of many from his unbelievable defense. We'll break down the techniques he uses to wreak havoc on the G-League and has prepared himself for his future breakout.
Oh man, what a defensive play. Tremendous defense. Wow.
It's easy to see why he's one of my favorite defenders. He picks up the ball full court, gets under guys' skin, is relentless on the ball, and never lets an offensive player breathe with his incredible hustle. And like most breakdowns, we're going to start on the ball. As you can see, NPL uses the forward stance, similar to many lockdown defenders. However, one benefit we haven't talked enough about on this channel is the low center of mass it creates. Watch here as the upper body momentum can swing you off balance during quick change of directions. You can see my upper body is almost in line with my outer foot, not making for an explosive change of direction. Whereas if you're low, that change of direction can be even more forceful. See how Pierre-Louis's body is completely on balance as he changes directions and creates that force in the opposite direction. This allows him freedom to use his versatile footwork to lock down players, starting with the basic, the touch slide. This footwork is characterized by never bringing the feet together or crossing them. It allows you to chest and be physical with attacks, keeps you square at all times, and keeps you on balance for any changes. And this is one Pierre-Louis has mastered, allowing him not only to disrupt, but control, applying a pressure I like to call disruptive control. Watch here again as NPL gets into the space of the ball. Now that he has completely cut off this direction, he can anticipate and now sit on the attack in the opposite direction. This is especially useful in the full court, as when you cut off a player, immediately prepare for that change of direction until you've taken that away, and so forth, gaining that level of anticipation from your pressure, making guys ready to get rid of that ball. And although the touch slide is his signature footwork, he can also use a crossover step, especially when he needs to cover even more ground. Notice that this is not a turn and run. Instead, his upper body stays square to the offensive player, allowing him to body up and stay in legal guarding position. And as you can see, when you cover that much ground, it can disorient offensive players to expose the ball or lack control of it. Another lockdown technique that allows Pierre-Louis to just pressure the ball. But that's not all. He also uses a two-touch slide, quickly bringing the feet together to create an even more explosive slide. And being a full court defender, he's well prepared in his turn and run. Watch how quickly he breaks his stance into a sprint, aiming for a spot to cut the opponent off. This mastery of multiple footworks has made Nate Pierre-Louis one of the deadliest on-ball defenders. And if you're interested in developing your own defensive footwork and becoming a lockdown defender, check out the Lockdown Footwork Training Program. This program was designed to teach the footwork required of elite defenders, with the drills needed to train and master these techniques. It's time to be a part of the defensive revolution. So if you're interested in becoming a lockdown defender, go to lockdownhoops.com to find out more. Now, let's get back to the breakdown. One of the most underutilized techniques is also one of the simplest, the activity of your hands. As you can see in these clips, Pierre-Louis is constantly disrupting the ball handler, tracing the ball and trying to get his hands on it, especially when that player becomes a passer, quickly suffocating and deflecting passes. This activity can even disrupt an entire pick and roll. Watch how NPL recovers with active hands here to come up with the steal, or in this play, canceling the handoff action completely with the activity of his hands while sliding. Which brings us to his ability to navigate ball screens, one of the most important skills for an NBA on-ball defender. Number one, NPL gets to the body of the offensive player to take away the reject. This tight position allows him to use his leverage, using the forearm over upper arm technique. This allows him to get skinny over the screen and stay attached. Another technique NPL uses that is very unique is his ability to lead with his closest hip. Most players swivel and pivot over the screen to avoid contact and get over top, while NPL likes to knife over it, keeping the physicality even for those setting the screen. And you can tell when you're doing your job when the opponent can't wait to get rid of the ball, bringing us right to his ability to take that ball away. And we've already talked about his active hands, but on the ball, his most used steal is a same side poke, going for the steal whenever he has a one-step advantage on the ball handler. This is a low-risk steal because he has the opponent locked down and already contained. Another steal that I love is his cutoff steal. As soon as he recovers in front of the ball handler, swiping at the common pickup point, or his recovery steals from behind, never giving up on a play. And not to mention his off-ball stealing ability, mimicking the outside hand steals of Tony Allen, extending his reach and keeping his vision on the play. And not to leave out his Kawhi-esque dig steals. Which brings us to our last portion, Pierre-Louis's ability to impact the rim. And he does so not with superhuman athleticism, but fantastic technique. You can see in these previous clips, he's jumping to the outside shoulder of the opponent, where they're most likely to expose that ball on that finish attempt. And he uses this concept even as a rotating off-ball defender, oftentimes coming out of unorthodox positions to impact the play. And you can see why Nate Pierre-Louis is one of my new favorite defenders. I often say an opponent should hate when you're guarding them, and many of NPL's opponents know this feeling all too well, which is why he is someone I will be keeping a close eye on, waiting for his breakout. I'm Coach Mike with Lockdown Defense. Keep up the hard work.